Ed, congratulations on this really important film. First off, you discovered the story in a New Yorker magazine article.
10 years ago.
Yeah, how did you transform that from a magazine story to a movie?
It had within it a very interesting narrative shape. We, as we read it, and I absolutely adhere to this, we find him abhorrent, and we think that he's guilty. And as it's revealed layer by layer that he's not, I felt that I could give the audience that same experience, that the audience would be complicit in condemning him. You try to adhere to those facts. But most of all, I thought it was an opportunity to describe this remarkable relationship between these two people, and an unexpected, deeply meaningful and profound relationship that happens almost at random. And that to me is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for a lot of things, that we have these encounters with people who change our lives. We don't know who that's going to be. And particularly in circumstances that are cruel and you might otherwise think would be impossible to have that happen within. The fact that they find meaning in the middle of the circumstance I found to be very powerful.
Now, how important was it to find Jack and Laura as the really perfect Todd and Elizabeth for this story?
Look, I mean, most important is a screenplay, and then it's casting. And after that, the rest sort of falls down like chips. It's all about finding the people who can inhabit those words. Laura, her work speaks for itself, but I knew certain things about her. I knew her to be an activist. I knew her to be an extraordinary empath, a deep listener. I felt she had all of those qualities. She's the exact same age as Elizabeth was at the time. And Jack, I'd seen his work in England. I knew him to be exceedingly courageous as an actor, to not worry about an audience's sympathies, to not seem to be protecting himself, but rather revealing himself. And there's a great confidence in believing that that will yield a performance, and it did.
Now, the film obviously makes a big statement about capital punishment in Texas, and amazingly about the story of Rick Perry and his role in this, ignoring key evidence that came to light before the execution. What's the message that you're trying to send with the film?
Well, I mean, it's one thing, we began working on it 10 years ago. I think right now it falls smack in the middle of a time within this country where the debate on on the criminal justice system is rising finally to the surface. So I just hope that this just becomes another voice. It puts a human face on it for people to look and understand just what these abuses can create.
Now finally, there are so many big emotional moments in the film. Was there one that stood out to you as being the most difficult to film?
Well, not difficult, but really moving to me. I think that when suddenly out of this movie when he says, you know, what do you think, you know, God thinks about all this? And Laura has this lovely moment when I think she asks herself the question, and to my mind, it's the actress and the character really searching in this way that's very quiet, but very powerful.
Ed, well, congratulations on an amazing movie.